Okay, well, welcome to episode 1 of what we're calling the Tales. No, I got that wrong. The Unexpected Tales about the tales of the unexpected tales.
And you may or may not be expecting from that we'll be talking about Roald Dahl's Tales of the Unexpected.
But was it Roald Dahl's Tales of the Unexpected?
To a degree, a lot of it was. Certainly in the first 3 series, but obviously then after that it was more generic.
Yeah, we've kind of assumed that he was responsible for the reason why it existed, and then at some point they must have realised that there was a lot more unexpected tales to be told, and now you've got more people writing. Roald Dahl, who his contract wasn't re-signed or something like that, and so then it just got called, rather than Roald Dahl's Tales of the Unexpected, just Tales of the Unexpected.
Which wasn't something that I'd actually been aware of. I thought it had always gone along as Roald Dahl's.
Well, I thought it was just Tales of the Unexpected, and Roald Dahl introduced them.
Oh, right. Because I remember watching it as a child, and I do also remember the Peter Cook thing, which was Tales of the Tales of the Very Much As You Expected. But I think with the problem with people sort of critiquing the do you expect it, don't you expect it, is where does the expectation come in?
Well, right at the beginning, it's in the title.
What I mean is, people say they look to the end and expect a twist ending.
Yes.
But it's not Tales of the End that's unexpected. So the unexpected nature can actually run through the entire tale. The ending may or may not be a twist.
It's just an unexpected tale, which is one of the reasons why we're doing this, right? Okay, so so let's introduce ourselves. I'm Chris.
I'm Rob.
What we've become fans of weird fiction, in particular the podcasts of H.P. Lovecraft, the H.P. Podcraft, and the M.R. James literary podcast, which dissect these weird tales. Now then, the beauty about these tales or the stories are they're setting a realm which, although it's sort of a weird place to be, it's, anything can happen, anything's allowed to happen, it's still not part of this world. And these stories, the Tales of the Unexpected, really sum up what this kind of like, it's just a strange place to be, and anything can happen. Now, my thought was, though, and I never got it until you just said it, was that actually the end part, the last 5 minutes or the last 30 seconds, was going to be the twisty ending. Yeah,
well, I think a lot of people do, and then a lot of people complain and they say, "Oh, I could see that coming," but work it back, think what it's called.
Yeah, absolutely. But well, that would be credit to then the storyteller. If you're saying here's a story with a bizarre ending, and you're expecting it, but then they go, "Whoa, you weren't expecting that particular ending."
Well, then you're on levels of ending, aren't you?
Yeah.
Levels of unexpectedness.
This potentially didn't influence things like The Usual Suspects and Memento and Seven, where the ending became the reason why you went to see it. But it certainly helped allow a filmmaker to present something that send you on a completely different narrative and then flip what you were expecting.
But what I was thinking about with Usual Suspects the other day, at the end, Kaiser Soze,
yes,
he's walking along, and there's sort of a close-up on his feet as he's walking.
Yes.
And gradually, his gait becomes normal.
Yes.
Why would he do it gradually? Surely he would have just limped round the corner and then started walking properly.
Or pegged it.
Yeah. He wouldn't have done that sort of change, that sort of...
That's a great point, yeah.
Slow move. I can't... And I've been trying to think of a justification for it. I thought, could it be that he thought somebody was watching him? No, you wouldn't change it at all. You'd only make the change if nobody was there to see it, in which case, just change it.
Yeah, what we should really point out is that this podcast will be full of spoilers too. So anybody who hasn't seen The Usual Suspects...
Sorry about that, yeah.
Okay, but this whole podcast is going to be full of spoilers.
Although,
Right.
to be fair, I didn't say who Kaiser Soze was. Although I did mention a certain identifying feature about him. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, look, let's just prove the point. So let's crack on. Right. So Tales of the Unexpected then was a predominantly British program made the last part of the 1970s, most of the 1980s. How many episodes did we work out that there was?
There were 112 episodes
That spanned over
9 series.
9 series. There are some really. This is unexpected. There's the length of the series was really bizarre. There's like one series which is series 8 has 4 episodes in. I mean, whether I don't know. I mean, what the reason for that was? Was that part of the ruse, the unexpected ruse?
It would have been series of the unexpected, wouldn't it? That, but
not a tale necessarily. No,
unless they were talking about it. But no, I don't know. That's something that I've often wondered why it's like that.
Well,
maybe that's something that if anybody's listening and they know, they could write in and tell us.
Yes, maybe Joan Collins knows.
I'm sure Jonas Collins would know.
Because my dream for this, the reason why we're doing this, the reason why we're doing this is because we love the show. In fact, everybody loves this show, right? Okay, everybody who was around. And if you weren't, you can get these if you're in Britain. You can watch these through Sky Go. They all the series are there, so you'll be able to check those out. And what we could do is recommend which episode we're going to be watching next week, so that people have a chance to watch that episode, and then we'll talk through that episode, and then people can kind of join in, or they can just listen to us babble on about it. Or what the format's going to be is we're just basically going to just watch an episode, and then explain what was going on. Why?
Well, it could be a bit like, as you say, Richard and Judy's book club, which you didn't say.
I didn't say.
You were alluding to that sort of
Yes.
thing, where people could do their own work in advance.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they do. Surely they
Well,
do.
they say-
They like have a list, don't they? And then you can read it,
And then they talk
and
about
then
it.
you talk about it.
Are they still? They're not still on TV though, are they?
Don't think so. James Naughty does it on Radio 4.
What, Richard and Judy's book club?
More James Naughty's book club, that one, I think.
Okay. Right. I'll tell you what. When I was driving over here, there's the roundabout off the motorway.
Yeah.
There is a big sign, like one of those ad lorry type things, that they park up
Yeah.
for Lidl.
Right.
Right, with a map of where the latest Lidl is.
Right.
Right, now then. One, Lidls are all over the place. Okay, so you'd be able to find one. But if you were hunting out that particular one, and you're like, we've got this far, but we need to know exactly where it is. I just couldn't understand why anybody would want to sort of like say this is like advertise Lidl, yeah, but like here's where you'll find. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that is a good point.
Well, there is, not to get drawn into this little discussion, but there is a new Lidl being built round here.
Do you think that is the advert that I've just seen?
It could be.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
it could be.
I love the little, the middle aisle
Of Lidl.
of Lidl. Because you go in, middle. Is that where they did that? Mind you, Aldi does it as well, and also Netto did it before them. Anyway, I love the bit where you go in, and you're like, I need my bread, I need cereals, and I also need like mushy peas. Quite fancy that wetsuit.
There are the most unlikely things in there.
I was
aren't
like, I've got my wetsuit, now I'll get those drill bits that I've been after. And I've got space in the trolley for a bird feeder.
But doesn't it draw you? I mean, I go in with my wife, and we're doing the shopping things, but all the time at the back of my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to have a look in the little middle because I want to find out what they're selling today, which I'm sure they never shift.
They must do, because there's constant replenished stock. I'm telling you, there's different things in each time I've been.
Yeah,
and I agree with you. I go in, and Michelle will go in for the bits that we need.
Yeah.
And all I'm bothered about is that middle bit where I could get like walking boots and a kind of no, what country? Like a Scandinavian cake. Because that's the only place I'm going to get a Scandinavian cake. And at Christmas time, I imagine it's like an Aladdin's cave in.
Yeah, probably non-Christmas items though.
But
because they don't sell anything that anybody really can use in the middle of Lidl. Therefore,
unless you're a diver. But if you were a diver and you needed your wetsuit and your scuba gear,
you wouldn't be going to Lidl, would you?
No. But how do you know that they don't advertise what's in that middle aisle, do they?
Perhaps it's to draw in the curious. In fact, it's the aisle of the unexpected.
That's what it is. Nice link.
Well, I thought so.
I'm sure. And do you know what? When I started this, I'm pretty sure it had something to do with it, the unexpected. Well, this is the whole idea of the podcast, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, what are we going to do with this? Is our intro episode.
Right.
So, we're not going to be talking about any particular episode in this. Maybe just kind of a gloss over, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
What, like sort of names of ones that particularly stick in your mind?
Well, good point. Because when I've spoke to people about this, and I've said, the Tales of the Unexpected, and really just to check that this was a podcast worth doing. Everybody always remembers one episode. Now I remembered two, but I only knew that one was an episode because I'd seen it. The second one that I remembered, I'd read the Roald Dahl short story, which was The Landlady, which when you look at these back, that's one of those stories that's kind of like just whoa, what the fuck is going on there? And actually, the reason I read it is because at school, our English teacher asked us to read the book. When it got to the ending of the kind of the unexpected bit, is that we would finish what Roald Dahl had started. It was a Roald Dahl book.
Right. So they didn't let you read the ending?
No, we read the ending, but the ending leaves you with this this kind of sense of, hang on, there's a part of the story that we need to...
So not only is it unexpected, it's an unfinished...
Well, I would say that it leaves you hanging... and so, well, we're going to be discussing that. And the other episode was, I don't know what it was called, but it was about a schoolgirl who was on her way home from school, who she ends up in a caravan because she's scared about what happens. Now, I can't remember anything more about it than it was like, that was before I went to school, that I was watching this. No, I don't know actually. I may have been at school. I probably was at school actually. But when I was watching it, it frightened the life out of me to go to high school where I'd need to catch a bus and potentially walk back on my own. But obviously that never happened. And I said to you about the Tales of the Unexpected, and you said the episode that you remembered was...
Well, the first one, Man from the South.
But you didn't know it was the first episode, did you?
I didn't know at the time that it was the first episode. I did actually subsequently read up that it wasn't the first one filmed, but it was the first one that was broadcast.
Oh, so which one was the first one filmed?
I don't know which the first one filmed.
But all you know is that
it wasn't that one.
The Man from the South.
Yeah.
And the Man from the South, I remember... I don't think I remember it being a Tales of the Unexpected episode until... I did a bit of research, but until I'd seen Four Rooms, which was the Tarantino... And I think it was... I don't think Tarantino was responsible for all the stories. There was 4 stories.
That's right, yeah.
Rodriguez was one of the directors, right?
I'm not sure whether he did all 4, but I know Bruce Willis is in that.
That's right.
Uncredited.
Uncredited, yes, that's right, yeah. Madonna's in it. Tim Roth is the bellboy who links the whole stories together.
Yeah, well, I was surprised because in that, well, I'll not go into the sort of similarities between the two stories because that might be giving a bit too much away. But I was surprised at the role that Quentin Tarantino played in that particular one because I would have thought he would have been another character than the one that he played.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, let's discuss that next because that will be if we haven't made this clear enough, that will be the first episode, which makes sense to just do these chronologically, yeah? So we'll be discussing that episode, the influences, what happens in it, and stuff like that. And
in the order of broadcast.
In the order of broadcast, absolutely, not in the order of it being filmed, it seems.
Other ones I remember is Lamb to the Slaughter, which also stuck in my mind, which I understand is actually an idea that Ian Fleming gave to Roald Dahl.
Because those guys, Fleming and Roald Dahl, and they were all like mates anyway. Weren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. They would both sort of been involved in espionage in the war.
Yeah.
And obviously, Roald Dahl wrote the screenplay for You Only Live Twice, Ian Fleming's book. Basically, he said that it was an unusable book as it stood. They couldn't make a film out of it. It was more like a travelogue.
So gave it to him.
So when they were making the film, they gave it to Roald Dahl to write.
Well, Ian Fleming did Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
He did, and obviously Roald Dahl then had a hand in that.
Yes.
And the Childcatcher is in fact Roald Dahl's creation.
Roald Dahl has his kind of back catalogue is phenomenal, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so everybody remembers the medicine one,
Which you don't. What's it called?
George's Medicine.
Right.
George's Medicine. That's a bit... No, it's George's Marvellous Medicine. I remember the chocolate one. Right, okay. Which had 5 kids in the film, or maybe 6 or 5 kids in the film, in the book, I mean. And, yeah. But in the first draft, there was 10 kids.
Really?
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's just a different way to get rid of a bunch of kids each time.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Okay, the Childcatcher, as you've said.
Yeah.
Okay, and the medicine one was about making a poison, and nowhere in that book it says you probably shouldn't try this yourself.
Do you think it's all children he doesn't like, or just badly behaved children? Because
I think he was just annoyed by kids.
in the chocolate factory, though, the ones who are disposed of in imaginative ways, they've all got something sort of a behavioural trait that's unappealing.
Maybe that's it. I tell you what, I'm going to write this down for next time, is to just look into, did he hate kids?
Well, I think it'd also be worth looking for some video of him not introducing this programme.
Because smacking a kid around.
Well, I wonder, is he trying to add to the unexpected or perhaps spooky nature of these things by presenting them in a bizarre way, or is that just the way he spoke?
Well, let's face it, right? Okay, let's think. If he wrote a bunch of short stories that had what a TV producer decided was that's got a twist. That's got a nice. I wasn't expecting that ending.
Yeah.
No, and the medicine one, the chocolate one,
The peach one.
the peach one, they're all kind of like, they take you on this bit of a journey and then go, we're expecting that. They do that, don't they? So his style of writing was that. It wasn't like, here's a vampire, it's a glittery vampire. You weren't expecting that. We weren't expecting that.
Well, you would expect the vampire, but you wouldn't expect the glitter.
Glittery bit.
Right, yeah.
Okay. There was loads of things. But that is a story that sold a lot of books, but it takes you on a journey. Whereas Roald Dahl's books, and in fact all of the Tales of Unexpected, sends you on a direction that what they're trying to do is then go the flip. Yeah. It's like, ooh, but that's not. Even with the title, you're thinking to yourself, maybe that I wasn't expecting that. I'm expecting everything else, but I wasn't expecting that. Maybe that's it. Which brings us back to where we started this whole conversation.
Is to which bit's unexpected?
Which is
the ending or the whole tale?
Could be either.
Both. Or both.
It could be either or both.
See, if you called one The Tale of the Glittery Vampire, the way to make it unexpected.
Is it not be glittery?
Or not even have a vampire?
Yeah, but then, because you just have a bunch of Draculas running around. That would be brilliant.
Without any glitter
No
inside.
glitter, just just
quite drab.
A
quite
family
drab Draculas.
Yeah, a family of
Draculas.
Dracula, yeah. But that's So shall we wind this one down then?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the format. That's the reason why we're doing this. We love listening to these sorts of stories. We love talking about these stories. And I think we're inspired by some of the podcasts about weird fiction that we've come across in our time. And if anybody is listening to this at a time, God knows why there would be. But if anybody is listening to this right now...
There are people with a lot of time on their hands, aren't there?
Yes. If you've got time on your hands and you've got to this stage, please check out the Lovecraft, the Weird Tales stuff, and the M.R. James stuff, and the No Sleep podcast. And there's some really, really cool, spooky stories, which hopefully we'll be able to do some justice with the same sort of justice with the Tales of the Unexpected.
And if anybody feels that they've got an awful lot of time, write us a Tale of the Glittery Vampire and send it in, and we might just be able to read that out.
Or just a family of Draculas.
Drabulas,
yeah. Okay, that's all for the first episode. The rest of the episodes will be the episode based. So we are going to be starting with episode 1 of series 1 of Tales of the Unexpected. You can get that on Sky Go. You probably find it on most on YouTube or something like that as well. Or why not buy the box set?
Buy the box set.
Why not go and buy the DVDs?
Just over £9 is for the first series at the moment.
That's quite a bit, though, isn't it? That.
Well,
when you
get a number of them. But
oh yeah. Okay, well, fair enough. Yeah, so go and do these filmmakers and storytellers service. Actually, it probably won't be Roald Dahl you'll be giving any money to. It'll be Sophie, perhaps, and Sophie and Jamie Cullum.
Oh, is Jamie Cullum married to Sophie?
Yeah, they're married together.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh.
Unexpected. See you next time.